Now that we took a closer look at components and directives, it's time to dive a bit deeper into pipes, another core Angular concept that's built into Angular and comes with the framework. And therefore, in this section, we'll explore what exactly pipes are, which built-in pipes exist in Angular, and how you can use and configure them. And we'll also explore how you can build custom pipes, as well as the difference between pure and impure pipes. So, what are pipes? Well, in the end, in Angular, pipes are a thing you can add in your templates to transform the way data is displayed on the screen, to transform values or how values are formatted and displayed when being used in your templates. And we saw an example for a built-in pipe being used earlier in the course with the currency pipe that could be used in a template to make sure that a value is output formatted as a currency with the currency's symbol and by also formatting the number in a certain way. And there we did use such an Angular pipe. Now, Angular does actually not just ship with the currency pipe, but with a couple of other pipes as well. And we'll see some of these pipes in action throughout this course and of course also in this section. And we'll also explore how we can use these pipes and configure them in our templates. And therefore, attached, you find another Angular project, which you can download and extract and run npm install, and then npm start to start the development server. And if you do so, you should see something like this on the screen. Some fictional temperature values for various places in the world, a timestamp, and then a list of past temperature values. And what you see here on the screen is generated by one single component. It's all in the app component in the end. I only got one template here because this section is not about components or directives or anything like that. You could, of course, split this component into multiple components, and you might do that if it were a realistic app. But for this dummy app, where we want to focus on pipes, it's all in one template, all in one component. And here I got some dummy data in the component class that is being output in the template. I also got an onReset method here in that class, which is triggered from inside the template whenever one of these list items here is clicked, so that it is then changed to 18 as a value. So that is the app we'll start with, and it's in this app where I now want to use some of the built-in pipes before we then also build and use and configure our own custom pipe. So where in this app could we use built-in pipes? Pipes that come with Angular? Well, if we take a look at the built-in pipes, we can see that there are two pipes that might be useful in this demo app. The first interesting pipe is the date pipe, which helps with formatting and outputting date values. And in this app here, I got this timestamp, which is currently not output in a very user-friendly way. So that's a place where we could use a pipe. In addition, here in this demo app, we also have these numbers, which have a lot of decimal places. And here we could use the decimal pipe to change the way these numbers are displayed, to only show a limited number of decimal points, for example. And therefore, I'll start with the date pipe here, and the question is, how do we use it? Well, a good place to learn more about a pipe is by visiting its official documentation. And then here in the date pipe, in the usage notes, we can see how we can configure this pipe, and I'll get back to that in a second. But we typically also see some usage examples. Here at the bottom, we can see that we added by using such a pipe symbol after the value that should be formatted, and then we have the pipe name. date in this case. So back here in our example, we could go to the app component template, and then here where I output the current date, we would use the built-in date pipe by adding this pipe symbol, so this vertical bar character here, and then thereafter the pipe name, date in this case. Now, just like this, it would be an unknown pipe though. Angular doesn't know it automatically because just like components or directives, pipes are not unlocked for all templates automatically in your Angular app. Instead, if you want to use this date pipe here in the app component template, you have to go to the app component configuration, so to the decorator, and add this imports array and import the date pipe. And also add this import here at the top, where date pipe is imported from Angular/common. That unlocks this pipe for this component, and therefore now we can use it here in the template. And if we use it like this, we can see that this date now looks much better already. But still, this might not be the way we want to display this timestamp. And that's why most pipes can also be configured. If you take a look at the official date pipe documentation, at the usage notes there, you see that there are some format options that can be set for this pipe. Some pre-configured templates, you could say, where you can quickly change between some popular ways of showing a date and time. And then you could also configure it in great detail with custom format options, where you could control in detail how the year and how the month and so on should be displayed. And you see examples for these different options down here in the format examples. This is how you could set up a complex custom output style. Either way, what you can also see down here is that a pipe is configured by adding a colon after the pipe name. That separates the pipe name from its arguments, so to say. And these configuration values are in the end arguments that are passed into that pipe. So if I want to use this medium style here, I could achieve this by adding a colon after date and then by passing medium as a string value to the date pipe, so after this colon. That's how we could pass this configuration value, this argument, into the date pipe. And then the date pipe will format this value with this configuration in mind. So if you save that and you go back, the date now looks like this, which is much better, in my opinion. So that's how you can use and configure built-in pipes. Now let's use this newly gained knowledge to also configure these temperatures here, so that we only see a limited number of decimal points here. And we can do that with help of the decimal pipe. Therefore, you can of course absolutely also pause the video here and try using that pipe on your own with help of the usage notes, so that you format these numbers such that we see at least one, but at most two decimal places for every value. After a short pause, which you can use to pause the video, we'll update this code together. Did you succeed? Let's format it together. For that, I of course add this pipe symbol again, and then I will add the number pipe here. Because even though it's called decimal pipe in the documentation, you can learn in the usage notes that it's actually the name number that must be added after this pipe symbol. So number it is, and then we can also configure this pipe by passing a colon here. And then as a string, we define the number of digits in front and after the decimal separator by specifying the minimum number of digits in front of the decimal separator, so 1 maybe, and then the decimal separator, and then the minimum and maximum amount of digits after this decimal separator, like this. That's what you also see here in the official documentation. You also see some examples there, of course. So with that, the number here should be formatted accordingly. And therefore, we can add this here to all these values. But of course, like this, the pipe won't work. Instead, it needs to be unlocked. Hence, we need to go to the app component and then there add the decimal pipe. Import it and add it to the imports array. With that, it is unlocked. And if we now save this, these numbers are formatted in a nicer way. So that is how we can use built-in pipes and how we can configure them. Next, I want to build a custom pipe.